It seems like every week that goes by, we find out something worse that's going on at Lucasfilm when it comes to Disney Star Wars. We've seen so many failures over the last few years, whether it was the garbage Book of Boba Fett series, whether it was the dumpster fire that was Obi-Wan Kenobi, or of course, whether it was the massive disappointment that The Mandalorian Season 3 was. A huge drop-off in ratings for what they thought was going to be their flagship show. Well, there's one thing that's coming down the pipeline that is likely to be worse than all of those series, and it's The Acolyte. As soon as people saw that Leslie Headland, Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant, who is a massive woke activist, was showrunning The Acolyte, which was going to be female-focused, which was going to be all about representation and identity politics, people knew that this thing was destined for disaster as well. Not only have we heard from so many of the different actors and people involved in this that just continue to push propaganda every time they open their mouths, but now we're starting to find out just how expensive this piece of shit is actually going to be, and it is huge. Disney sets massive Star Wars budget for 2024 show, larger than Rogue One's pre-production. So to put this in perspective, The Acolyte, the show that some people tried to say was like not even a real show, some of these scoopers out there who've been wrong about virtually everything, they tried to say it was like a fake show, that it wasn't real. Well, they spent $50 million on pre-production before a single camera even started rolling when it comes to The Acolyte. That's how much money they're spending on this pile of shit. The Acolyte may end up being one of the most expensive Star Wars television series yet, as a new report indicates Lucasfilm spent over $49 million on the series before filming even began. According to Forbes, the bill for the show's pre-production budget apparently comes in at $49.2 million, thanks to legal documents tied to spending on series that are filmed in the UK. To put that number in perspective, when you look at something like Andor had a massive budget. Andor, overall, they spent $250 million. They spent about $65 million on pre-production, and they built like an entire city, an entire town for Andor, and it was all during COVID as well, so they had all the restrictions they were having to deal with. You're talking about just a little bit under that for The Acolyte, so there is no way that The Acolyte comes in less than $200 million overall as a project. They spent more just in pre-production for The Acolyte than pre-production for Rogue One. That is wild. And when you look at the Andor comparison, Andor had a 12-episode season. The Acolyte's probably going to only have 8 episodes. How are they spending this type of money before the camera even starts rolling? Given reports that Lucasfilm production teams tend to aggressively spend money on major projects, sizable budgets on Star Wars projects being spent before day one filming should not be very surprising. For frame of reference, pre-production on Rogue One came in at $44 million, just $5 million less than The Acolyte. Now, of course, you're talking about a movie versus a streaming TV series, so there's obviously more stuff to film for the TV series. Also, Rogue One ended up getting like reshot in a bunch of different ways too, so who knows how much of that ended up just getting wasted in the long run. But you're talking about an astronomical amount of money that they are putting into a project that is going to be a failure. With everything we've seen from Leslie Headland, with everything we've heard from the cast talking about how Star Wars is so patriarchal, we need more women in Star Wars. They don't know anything about Star Wars. They don't know anything about the world. All they know is that they're trying to insert identity politics into it. You'd think that somebody at Lucasfilm would have learned something after over a decade of Disney Star Wars pushing these things that the fans continue to not want, continue to tell you that they despise, yet you keep hiring activists like Leslie Headland to take over massive projects. We know that Leslie Headland is not the right person for this job, yet she gets the job because she has the right politics, because she is the right gender, and because she's the right sexuality. And all of that stuff is going to be forefront in The Acolyte, and they're going to lose so much fucking money. Let me know your thoughts about all this in the comments section below. Smash a like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.